The International Criminal Court prosecutor has called for a formal inquiry into war crimes and crimes against humanity in Nigeria. This follows a decade-long investigation into violence in the northeast involving Boko Haram militants. Fatou Bensouda said in a statement that the vast majority of crimes were by what she termed as non-state actors, although Nigerian security forces also need to be probed. She also said after 10 years of investigations, the situation in Nigeria has met the required criteria for an inquiry. Well, Boko Haram was founded in 2002. At first, it was a non-violent religious movement that advocated for purification of Islam in northern Nigeria. However, following the arrest and killing of its founder, Mohammed Yusuf, in 2009, the new leader, Abu Bakr Shekau, radicalized and aligned it with Al-Qaeda. He would later begin a military campaign against the Nigerian government. Boko Haram is blamed for high-profile attacks on civilian and security installations, including the recent killing of at least 110 rice farmers in Borno State. It also claimed responsibility for the kidnap of over 200 Chibok schoolgirls in January 2016. The group's campaign has led to deaths of thousands of locals and security agents and displacement of over 30,000 people in northern Nigeria. Well, let's now get you more on that story. I'm now joined live via Zoom by Tolu Akerele, counterterrorism, cybersecurity and data protection consultant. Tolu, why has it taken this long for the ICC to seek full war crimes probe into the Nigerian conflict?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So this is a difficult question because often it's very tricky to meddle in state affairs. Nigeria is obviously a massive power on the African continent, and it's always very delicate with the oil and with the relations to go for either Nigerian security forces or the insurgent actors themselves. So I think this is why it's taken some time. We have to bear in mind that the Nigerian security forces, although there are some flaws in the system, they aren't committing atrocious acts against humanity intentionally. So they may be acting under duress. There are times where we see that the military buys their own uniforms. As such, uniforms and kits can fall into the wrong hands. There's a lot of impersonation of military personnel. So you can never really tell whether it's actually the Nigerian security forces or insurgents posing as the Nigerian military.
Now, if the government there has been unable to bring the perpetrators to justice, how then will the ICC be able to do so, considering it's also facing criticisms over its own credibility?
Good question. Thank you. I think that it has to be handled very delicately because for the ICC to target low-level insurgents of Boko Haram, this is counterproductive in my opinion, because they're most likely members who have joined under duress. It's a kill or be killed. So in that sense, it's more up to the Nigerian state to win the hearts and minds of the population, the local populace, because as you mentioned, Boko Haram recently just slaughtered over 100 rice farmers on the outskirts of Maiduguri in the suburbs. And this is because one civilian gave intelligence to the army. So if you now start prosecuting and targeting civilians that really only joined because it's either life or death situation, then I don't think it will be very effective in that sense.
And finally, Tolu, what impact will these developments then have on the overall fight against the insurgency?
That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I think it may actually set things back slightly because the best approach now is a joint regional approach with neighbors like Cameroon, Chad, Benin. So we're looking at multinational joint task forces. The ICC could actually model this situation if they continue with such unsubstantiated claims like the military has forcibly conscripted minors under 15. You've got to understand also that the military has a lot of PTSD in the ranks. They're coming up against child soldiers. I know one of the special commanders for the special forces, he had to kill a 9-year-old who killed his best friend. It's a kill or be killed situation again. So I think the ICC has to tread very carefully. There needs to be copious amounts of evidence, and they need to know exactly who they're prosecuting and for what. So I think in terms of crimes against humanity, we're looking at the military committing crimes against IDP, that's internally displaced people. But this happens again all over the world. We've seen it with Red Cross, Oxfam. So I think the ICC has to tread carefully and really target the insurgents that are creating the most havoc. We're looking at ISWAP, the Islamic State in West Africa. We're looking at Boko Haram leaders, Abu Bakr Shekau. We're looking at the top leaders, not the low-level insurgents, which are easy picking, so to speak, low-hanging fruit.
All right. Thank you very much for your insights there, Tolu Akerele, who is a counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and data protection consultant, joining us live there.